Well, the man speaking through Terran sounded pleased. How does it feel to be free? Vibrations filled my veins, painful and invigorating. Energy stroked my nerves. I could barely answer. Free? I shuddered. Using shame to suppress your magic, shackling your body with grief. Your condition, Troy, your sentence of slavery, is a purely self-inflicted one. And now I've remedied that. I've broken your bonds and set you free. No, this can't be. My breath was ragged, my mouth dry. I didn't call to the stone. I didn't pull it in. Frantically, I dug my hands in the sludge, clenching my fists, trying in vain to stop shaking. You're not Terran. You're Shinree. Obviously. Terran's long legs lifted high up out of the water, and she came closer. It's a little more challenging to be attacked by one of your own kind, isn't it? Glamour spell. I wheezed out. You're using glamour to wear her body. Close, but I'm not wearing it. I'm controlling it. Though controlling you is far more amusing. Terran gestured with the ring again, and a surge of throbbing heat sped through me. Gods. Wincing, struggling not to like it, I shook my head. You can't do this. You can't make me cast. I'm pushing magic into you. Is it so hard to believe that I can pull it back out? Don't. Please, I begged. You have to stop. I found the perfect weapon to use against you, Troy. Why would I stop? Forcing you to channel magic when you have struggled to stay clean of it every day for 10 years. It's foolproof. It's far more lasting than wounding you with a sword. And I need only strike once. One hit, one spell is all I need to break you. I pulled my hand in closer. Thick, black strings of mire clung to me as I pressed my palms down, gritted my teeth, and forced myself up. Why are you doing this? I demanded. I have no quarrel with any of our kind. Quarrel? He laughed. I'm not your enemy. I'm your savior. I'm here to show you that magic isn't a flaw to be hidden. It's a gift. It's a fucking curse! I cried out so forcefully I almost fell over again. When I use magic, people die! I'm counting on it. No! Adamant, I shook my head. I won't do this. You have no say. Magic is not a choice. It is for me. Are you that dim? Do you think yourself cursed? Or do you truly not remember what it's like to go without, to suffer through that interminable space between the last time you cast and the next? Anticipation bringing him closer, heavy, wet drops kicked out as Terran moved swiftly through the stream. The hunger, the emptiness, how it burns inside you, growing, twisting, shredding wits and reason until you're absolutely sure that something's eating you from the inside out, and when you can't bear it anymore, you cast to make it go away. Then a little while later, it starts all over. Coming to a halt just out of reach, Terran crouched down on a narrow stretch of grass and gazed at me. I'm sorry, Troy, but it's time to pull your fucking head out of your ass and accept the truth. This is what it means to be Shinree. He whispered a single word, and the sensations on me multiplied. Spasms of pulsing pleasure licked at my nerves. Vigor pumped through my veins. Wave after wave of stone magic broke over me, saturating my insides with an explosion of power so great I thought my skin would rip apart. It was outright euphoria, and my swagger, my claims and convictions couldn't hold up to its might. They crumbled and got swept away. And in their absence was something I'd never thought to feel again. Complete satisfaction. I was sated. Magic was filling a void in me that I hadn't even known existed. Gods help me, I've missed this. I suppose I pity you. The man shaped a disconcerting look of sympathy onto Terran's face. All that time you wasted, wrapping yourself in denial, fighting to strip away every morsel of your heritage, falsely believing you could alter your very being, and for what? You've overcome nothing, changed nothing. It's quite sad, really. Trembling, I panted at him. I'm going to kill you. No. You're going to cast for me as many times as I require until I'm done with you, and as far as your instinct to do me harm, it's understandable, but I don't recommend you try. You can't hurt me. You don't have the blood for it. If you did, you wouldn't need to hijack my spells. And a soldier can't dominate a body anything close to what you're doing. I couldn't think. You're something else. What I am is more powerful than you. I flashed him an impudent, steady grin. Yet you hide inside a woman? Taryn's nostrils flared. Words escaped her gritted teeth. They were no more than faint mutterings, but I knew the cadence and the inflection, and I braced myself. It did no good. As the air changed and the spell formed, a barrage of white-hot points of power blasted into me, and I toppled over. Penetrating my skin, searing like blades heated over a fire, the unseen arrows plunged into my chest and tore back out again, stabbing shoulders, limbs, chest, and head. The assault was relentless. The pain was agonizing. Cool mud coated my skin as I writhed in it all, but I could feel fire. I let loose a desperate, gut-wrenching cry, and the spell ended. The pang left a moment later, as if all that was needed to make it stop was an admission of weakness. Grunting, I lifted up onto my elbows, spitting gritty lumps of swamp from my mouth. I shook a mass of sopping hair from my eyes and growled at him. Where the hell did you learn a spell like that? His reply was a low, eloquent laugh. It went on so long I had visions of separating his head from his body with my bare hands just to make it stop. But his body wasn't there. And as devious laughter faded, so did the unnatural color tainting Taryn's eyes. They went back to normal, and suddenly it was just her standing there, staring down at me with an expression that was almost apologetic. I wanted to hate her for it, but I had no time. Taryn walked away, and the magic left me. Its departure, made worse by my years of temperance, was abrupt and excruciating, as if a hand were reaching down inside and ripping a part of me out. Pleasure came next, penetrating the pain, fusing with it until I couldn't tell one from the other. Together they overran my nerves, sweeping over me and through me, stroking and stimulating the smallest, darkest parts of my soul. Deprived of breath and awareness, I lay helpless and trembling in the mire as my body became a furious cyclone of energy. It was unbearable. Yet I was smiling. I'd surrendered myself into the grip of a well-trained whore, and I was reveling in her touch, letting her do as she willed to me without regret. Regret would come later, without fail. Now I was magic blind. I was caught in a phase that amounted to no more than a hair's breadth of climax, an instant where it was virtually impossible to give a damn about anything. I drifted in it happily. Too long, I thought, savoring the moment. It's been far too long. But distressingly quick it began to dwindle. With pleasure's departure, the black aura of the obsidian rose up out of my body. It lingered in my eyes, lending them color for a little while. The color diminished my ability to see, which made the tail end of being magic blind not just an arbitrary term. Thankfully, my interval of slightness was brief, and I spent it as I always had, cold, weak, and vulnerable, unnerved by the frailty and nakedness of the moment, and trying to pretend that my utter defenselessness wasn't near as long as it felt. I let out a quivering breath of relief as my vision returned. I refused to think about where my spell was headed, or who it was aimed at. That damage was already done. Instead, I sat and shivered, wishing I were blind again, so I couldn't see the swamp going black and withering around me. Harvesting without discrimination, my magic would steal from the birds, the lizards, and the plants. Tearing. Everything within range would die, except me. As a Shinree, my donation was far less. It would weaken me, often to the point of unconsciousness, but I got to live. I got to wake up to the damage I'd done and the lives I never meant to take. The spell glided near me and I gasped. Its touch was cold and fierce. It robbed my breath like a gust of winter wind. Then it swept through me and stole what meager bits of strength I had left on its way out.